What's going on? Wacky Cat here, and I'm here to talk about AEW Fight Forever. I'm a little late to the party talking about it, but I'm here now. And first of all, we saw the trailer, but before I get into that, THQ Nordic, let me make this perfectly clear for you guys that don't know, and I'm sure all of us know. THQ, the game developer, they are the godfather of wrestling games. They are the OG, the originators. They don't want to brag about it. They kind of humble about it, but I'm going to brag for them. A lot of us was eating Gerber and getting our diapers changed when they was making video games of wrestling. We got to put respect on their name. I'm 100% confident that this AEW game is going to be a great game. It's not going to suck. It's going to at least be a great wrestling game. Now, a lot of us are concerned a little bit from the mini game, but I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. So we saw the gameplay. I will admit, the trailer wasn't all that glittery and glammy, but I think the trailer was meant to show the differences between the other wrestling game, the other wrestling promotion game, and their wrestling promotion game. And the first thing we noticed, the first screenshot, is male wrestlers can fight female wrestlers, a feature we haven't seen in wrestling video games, at least, in years. So now we're bringing that back. Boom. One factor you can do in AEW game that you can't do in the other game. Now let's talk about the mini game. The mini game. Now I don't like the word mini game. I don't. Honestly, because when I think of mini game, I think of Mario Party. And don't get me wrong, I got every Mario Party there is. Mario Party Superstars on the Switch, I be playing it. It's fun. But I don't want mini games in my wrestling game. Now, I don't know. I think they just, like I said, I think they just did this to point out we have this feature in the game and the other promotion don't have that feature in their game. I don't know what it entails because, see, what's happening is we're getting confused. This trailer has confused a lot of us because we're trying to figure out we were just trying to see the game mechanics and the features of the game. So I'm trying to figure out, are the game mechanics of the actual wrestling game different than the mini game? Or what? I'm thinking that it is. I'm thinking, but it's kind of weird. And some of you may like this, some of you may not. I'm not a big fan, but they're this close for being too cartoony for me. Like far as the way it looked. Now it's not that bad, but it's almost there. And I like realistic. I'm not asking for it to be super realistic. They're right at the threshold though. Because they're getting, and once I saw those mini games, I was like, wait a minute. But we have to go back to what I said at the beginning of this game, beginning of this video. THQ Nordic, they know what they're doing. I guarantee you they know what they're doing. We don't understand, and if you can see, when they show that footage of the wrestling footage, it says at the bottom something, I'm not saying it verbatim, but don't quote me, this footage may not be the footage of the game product at the end of this game when the game is fully developed. So I think it's great that we have another wrestling game. Now, both game developers, THQ Nordic and 2K, are now combating with each other, and they know they're going to be seeing the other. They're going. Competition makes each other better, and now I'm getting nostalgia because for all y'all that's old enough to know, when the WCW Mayhem and WWF Attitude video games was out, we was watching it. We was doing the same thing like we doing now. Like we'll look at the WWF back in the day, how their video game is. Then we look when WCW, when their video game came out, we're like, oh. And a lot of times WCW game was better than WWF. So sometimes the big dog doesn't necessarily, the big promotion may not necessarily have the best game. So this is going to be great. This is great for wrestling games because it's competition, and I can't wait to play it. We don't have a release date, but there's rumors that they're saying it's going to release sometime before WWE 2K23. So yeah, I know a lot of us may, like I said, that part of the mini game being squares in confuses everybody, but I think they just put that in there just to show, boom, these are the two things we do different. You can fight, man and woman can fight, and mini games. But I think as we go further along with the development of this game, they're gonna start showing us trailers of how to play the game. I think they just wanted to push that on out to show us these little two things. I don't think obviously the whole game is not going to be mini games. I just think that's one little feature that it has. I don't know. I think they might be trying to appeal to a larger audience by doing that too. Maybe even people that don't even watch wrestling games. But I'm pretty confident that THQ, the GOAT of wrestling video games. Now, they haven't made a wrestling video game in a long time. Do they still got it? I'm pretty sure they do. I'm excited. They got those, developers on their side. They got the heavy hitters. They just ain't go with any old developer like, oh, you know how to. They went with veterans that know how to make wrestling games. That's the great part. So, guys, we're gonna be probably seeing more stuff to come. That's my 2 cents. Remember now, THQ made WWF No Mercy, one of the greatest wrestling games of all time. The greatest wrestling game of all time, if you ask me. I grew up with No Mercy, so I'm curious if the game mechanics is like No Mercy. Oh, my. I've been waiting for a game. It's simplified. It's a very simplified mechanics of WWF No Mercy. And they kind of mentioned in the trailer that the controls was kind of simple. So maybe we may be having I don't know. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but we shall see. Well, anyway, I'm Wacky Cat. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Any more news about AEW? Because now I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about this, guys. At first, I was like chilling back, like, yeah, because we ain't had no release date like that. So I won't really press them like, oh, it's gonna come out. But now I'm starting to get excited about AEW Fight Forever now. I'm starting to get hyped. I know y'all are too. Even though that trailer was kind of, it wasn't what we thought. Well, anyway, I'm Wacky Cat. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'm out. Because the scalpers, they're not going to bother themselves going into a store. It's a beautiful cabinet, but I wasn't really interested in getting it, and I forced myself to kind of want it, and then I pre-ordered it, and then I last minute canceled. Like, nah. I see. What? Hurry. Yo, the Master Splinter just threw a bomb at me. What type of most bizarre video game situation in history?